welcome to the 412 Canada podcast. Thanks for joining us. My name is Kim Hutchins, and at 412, we're equipping the church for greater influence through serving. 412 is a ministry of Faith Baptist Church in Huntsville, Ontario, and we're so excited to be able to continue to equip you through our podcast and YouTube. And today, I'm excited as we look at this past year and all the encouragement that our different guests have brought for each of you. So we're going to take a moment now to watch through some of that. So I just was wondering too, for a lot of people that are watching, they're volunteers at a church. And so it's been such a crazy year. I just wonder if there's some words you can give them to encourage them during the season.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want them to know that they're doing a great job. This is like a crazy hard season. It's really challenging, and it feels lonely, and it feels draining, and it feels just all of those feels.
Yeah.
And so I just want them to know they're doing an amazing job.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just thinking about those who are joining us, and maybe some have been volunteering in Kidsmen or youth or preschool, and maybe some are just volunteers or are just parents, and they're not even volunteering, right? Yeah. As many haven't been in this past year. So what would you say to encourage them as a parent or working with kids?
Yeah, I think working with kids, and I think when I talk to youth workers and children workers, what I would say is this: is you're not their parent.
Yeah.
So the responsibility is not on you. Like I'm just saying that as a dad, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, my kid's spiritual growth is not dependent on Dave, the youth pastor. It's dependent on Dave, the dad.
Yeah.
Right. And I think for so long we have seen the paid professionals as the ones that are going to save our kids. And how can we, if we go back to those numbers, right? I have 40 hours a year with your kid.
Yeah.
You have 3,000.
I know.
So anything I do within youth group, it's going to be offset at home if it's not being. And so I think the thing is for parents, I think they want to do the best they can. And I think that's where as a church, we really have to come alongside of them.
And look back and be like, man, like, God did just such a huge work through those people, and that we won't really know the impact of it for, I think, a long time to come. We're going to look back on that, I think, with a different kind of clarity than even we have now. So I would say thank you. Wow, it's amazing that people have continued to serve, and thank you people have flexed. I was talking to a leader recently who, it's like they've done everything. They've done everything that's not what they normally do in the last year. They've tried all this new stuff to try to help because they just buy the mission. They're like, we want to help.
Yeah.
And man, I would be like, let's keep that. How do we keep that spirit? I think there's something there that we want to take up a cross and lean in and say, I'm going to try something that I'm not totally comfortable with. And we need you to do that in this season because we need you to serve before people will come back.
Exciting now to do something new.
Yeah.
And so, let's try new things. Let's serve in new ways. And let's get excited about serving again. I think.
Leading volunteers in the local church. What are some ways that they can encourage those that are serving under them in evangelism and discipleship?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a big question. That's a whole conversation we could have.
I know. I just thought I'd throw that out there, and we'll discuss it later. But just a little.
Yeah, for people leading volunteers, I think continuing to encourage them to not be in the church all the time. That's maybe seems counterintuitive, but that as we serve in the church, what are the ways that we're involved with our neighbors? Even if it's like I was saying, my little dog evangelist, that are we finding ways or reasons to interact with people who aren't just in the church community? Yeah. That would be my first thing, to encourage your people.
Yeah. Do you even know your neighbor?
To just start with the 5 houses around you or the 5 properties around you. That's a start, just to even know them, and the simple things of baking cookies, or maybe if it's COVID, it has to be something sealed, so it's a bottle of wine or it's a bag of chips. It doesn't matter. It can be just a gesture of hospitality.
Particularly, we can make an impact even in our latter years. We can make an impact for God's glory.
Yeah, and I think that's so important for everyone to hear. It doesn't matter how old you are or where you're living, that you can impact for God's glory.
Right on.
Yeah. Thanks, Lance.
Thank you.
What is one thing you can say to encourage those who serve in the local church?
Just serve. But to serve out of an understanding of what it is that you are doing, it's very easy to get caught up into the life of the church and to do a lot of things and to get very involved. It's also very easy to sit back and do nothing.
Yeah.
It's so easy to treat the church a little bit like a mall or a consumer-centered thing that you like or you don't, and you pick and choose, and it becomes this spiritual buffet of I only do what I would like to do, and the things that I would not like to do, I will choose to do. And that's okay. Again, we're not all passionate about the same thing, but if God has brought you to a church, you are needed to serve in the way that only you can to serve in that church. There, you have been prepared, and the work has been prepared, and you have been prepared for that work. And so ask God to reveal that to you. Talk to your leadership and ask how you can participate in the life of the church in spiritual growth and development by serving. And you will do so with passion because God has already equipped you for it.
Watching or joining us.
Yeah.
A lot of them just serve and they volunteer in the local church or they lead volunteers. What could you say to encourage them?
I'll say that this is not just something to watch it. What you're watching, it's something that you could be part of.
Yes.
And you are part of.
Yeah.
Especially that God's call is for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay? We believe that God called all believers, not some of them, but all of us, to be His, to live with Him, to walk with Him on daily basis. I encouraged him, Kim, in order for them to pray more about the possibility for them to be part of the Great Commission whenever they are. If they are in Europe, if they are in Middle East, North Africa, if they are in Canada, if they are in North America, God called them for His great mission field. And just to encourage them that whenever they're doing a great thing when they are doing it for Jesus and for His own glory. So I encourage them in a great way.
Yeah.
It'd be okay. And walking beside them through that, it can feel like they've detached. It can feel like they're not as interested. I mean, the reality is that they're just processing a lot. And even like the minimal presence you might feel like you have can still be hugely significant.
Okay.
Right? Like the text you send, even if they don't respond, say, hey, I'm praying for you today.
Yeah.
All right, the time you take to go and grab a lunch or to show up to the ball game or like whatever, those little moments speak volumes and do an infinite amount of work of keeping those relationship doors open, even with those students you think, I don't know if I made much of a connection. But like,
out of my comfort zone, it forces me to come and read and see, okay, what is this? Oh, that's why. And then when you have that, it's not that, oh, now I'm asking everyone to go and read in another language. It's only a little tool that helps your humbleness come in.
Okay.
Because to be out of your comfort zone means that you are not an expert there. You're learning. And so your attitude comes with a learning that I don't know nothing. I need to humble myself and let the scripture talk to me. And so that is the part that we stop, we read, and the Lord comes and works in our attitude and our heart. When you have an attitude of a servant, let the master talk first, right?
Yeah. And what about for somebody who maybe is not in a small group? How would you encourage them to think about joining one?
Yeah, okay. Well, I know everybody, first of all, can't be in a small group. There are some legitimate reasons. They just cannot.
Right.
But for someone who's never been in a small group, I would just say, why don't you try it?
Yeah.
Because you know what? It's just like, trying a new food. You might not like it, but if you don't try it, you might be missing the best food on the planet.
Yeah.
If you don't try it. And so reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. They are volunteering in a local church or they're leading those who serve. What is something that you could say to encourage them?
Yes, there's a lot to be said, but through my experience, and I can honestly say that the field is plentiful and the workers are few. So I do encourage every person who is listening to this experience or to this kind of ministry that there's a lot of opportunities, even if it's small or big. God has a purpose for every person. We just need to be more close to God and ask Him what is His plan for us. And there's a lot of opportunities. So it really means a lot for me to see young people serving the Lord.
And to have Jesus as our Savior, right? To know that regardless of what's going on in our life, whether that's, COVID or in my life, deported from Canada a couple years ago, right?
That's true, right?
Knowing that God is always constant and having my hope in Him is better than anything else. And so understanding that the Holy Spirit is with us, that God is with us, and He has called us to just be obedient to what the Scriptures tell us, which is to go and make disciples.
Yeah. You know what? Well, we're going to take a moment now with Pastor Matt. He is the pastor of worship and communications here at Faith Baptist, and normally he's behind the scenes. So welcome, Matt, to On Camera.
Kim. I know, we're like on this side of the camera, and I was saying to Kim earlier, this is the warmer side.
Yeah.
The lights are, I think being behind the lights is a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
So good to be here.
That's so good, yeah. Now, I think that this is a great opportunity for you to just give a word of encouragement for all of those that have been joining us that serve in production or communications or even just on worship. There's so many areas that you oversee. So if you could share with them one thing that's encouraging or two things,
and
we'd love that.
That's great. And I wanted to start with a big thank you and say thank you. Certainly to the people at Faith, but beyond, because across Canada through this last, year and a half, people have been shifting in their roles and going like, man, I signed up for worship team, but I don't know if I signed up for doing this via video and the production guys are editing at home. First, just a giant thank you to all the teams across Canada who are getting the gospel out and loving people and using their gifts that way. And so big thank you. But in terms of encouragement, I'd say, lean into your roles and what you're doing, and that's good. Like keep on and sharpening those tools that you're using. And it's such a good season. I mean, 412 is one tool to like sharpen your skills and your person, who you are, and as you serve. But beyond that, lean into the community that you're creating as you serve, and that's something coming out of this season. We haven't had worship rehearsals for like a year and a half, right? It just we couldn't bring people together, so it was like two of us 10 feet apart could like just kind of. So, but as I look at how to relaunch that, my heart right now is towards building, nurturing that community. And so it's like, man, if there's ways that we can be building that. So as an individual, as you serve, in whatever role it is, look for opportunities to invest in the relationships of those around you. And as you direct the culture around you, that's a win for the team. Keep Christ at the center there, Christ focus. But that's what's really on my heart. And then as you're doing that, so as you're doing your role, whatever that is, in worship, production, pushing buttons, playing guitar,
whatever it is.
And as you're seeking to build a healthy, Christ-centered community around yourself as you serve, I would also say just don't lean into yourself for strength as you do those things. And my daughter reminded me the other day, we were out at Mary Lake, and she's like, I have this Dwell app that I have.
Oh my goodness,
it plays this,
yes,
it's
I've
amazing,
heard it's amazing.
Amazing app. And so a friend of our family gifted us a subscription for it, and it's amazing. So I said, what do you want to listen to? It was nighttime, the stars were all out. She's like, Isaiah 41. She said, I want to listen to Isaiah 41. So I got it out. And I would say this, because this talks about leaning into
I know, I want you to share
God.
that verse. It's so good.
Isaiah 41:10 says this. It says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And like, I need that verse. I need to hear that hope and that promise. We don't have to be our own strength. In fact, we need to lean into Him. And so again, however you're serving, keep at it. You're doing great. It's making a difference. Lean into community. It'll matter. And then lean into God for strength for all of that. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, Kim.
Good. I'm so glad you could come on.
Hey, this is a treat. It's a treat.
That's great. For those joining us, I hope that you were encouraged by the different guests that we've had on and look forward to our next season with more practical, hands-on training for those that serve. Remember that there are links available in our show notes. If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, remember to subscribe on your podcast app. For those watching the video edition, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode. Also, hop onto the discussion by following us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at 412 Canada. Looking forward to next time. Thanks for joining us. That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Great.
Yay!
Good.